Hi everyone, I'm Søren, the Power Viking. In this video, we're going to be looking at working with views for model-driven apps on the Power Platform. So let's start where we left off last time. We're going to go into our environment, make sure we're in the correct environment, and then go into the solution we've been working on so far. For me, it's of course the Power Viking solution. Then we're going to go into our ship table that we've been working on so far with our forms as well, and then go into views. So now, what is a view? A view is basically the way that you see all the rows of data that are in a specific table. So for example, let's go into the ship table. So for every single ship that has been added to this table, we want to see an overview of that, and that is basically what is called a view. So we can see there are a couple of standard views here already. Some of these views are main views when you're looking at the table and all the data, and some of them are the views. For example, if you have a lookup, we have that from the trip table. We have the lookup into the ship. There's a lookup view that decides which data from the ship table we're actually seeing, and then we have some of these other views. We're not going to go into that too much. What we want to look at in the beginning here is just the main views. So we'll go into the standard view, which is called active ships. From here we can see right now nothing has been added to this table, so there's no data to show. But we can see that there are two fields, just like with the form. There's some standard fields that are always added. For views, it's the name and the created on field that is added automatically. So let's go ahead and add the same fields that we had in the form to the view. So we're going to start here with the start date, end date, the ship type, and the number of crew members. And when this record was created is not really important for me, so I'm going to go ahead and select the created on and remove this. So now I have the view completed here and all the information I actually want. So I can go ahead and I can save and publish this view. Now this is done. I can go back to my overview here again. I also want to change the lookup view. I want to see some additional information when I'm looking for a specific ship, so I'll go into the ship lookup view. Instead of the created on, I'm going to remove this column. And I want to know what ship type this is, so I'm going to add that point here as well. I'll click Save and Publish on that. Now that's been saved and published, I want to go back here to the overview, and then I want to create a view for a different table. I want to create it for the trip table, so I'll go into that. Under trips, I want to see here for our views. So now I have again the same types of views here for the trips, but what I want to do as well is I want to create a view that is only used in the subgrid for when I'm actually working on the form. So I'll go here and create a new view, and I'll call this the trip subgrid view. And here I only want to see the start date and end date for this specific trip, and not any other information here. So I'll go ahead and save and publish this. I'll go back to my overview, and then under active trips, I want a little bit more information. This is the main view that is going to be used for when I'm looking at all the trips in the table, not those only specific to a ship. And here I want to see the start date, the end date, and the ship that this trip belongs to. So I'll go ahead and save and publish this view as well. And back to the overview. Now, this view that I just created for the subgrid, this wasn't used when we created our form, so we're actually going to go revisit the form a little bit here. So I'll go to the ship table, into the form, open my main form here in a new tab. Then I'll go here under the trip tab, select the subgrid, and here I can see that the table that has been added, the trip table that has been added here in ships, has the default view of active trip selected. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to the trip subgrid view instead. I can now see that I'm using the subgrid view here, where I can see the name of the trip, start date and end date only, and not the ship type that was used in the other view. So I'll go ahead and save and publish this as well. And now that this is saved and published, I can go ahead and close this. Say done to this. So now I've been able to create some new views, edit some of the existing views, use the new view in the subgrid here from my form. So I'm able to now see all this data in different ways from within my model-driven app. Another thing to be wary of when you're working with views as opposed to forms is something that we didn't quite cover, is that when you're looking at a view, the name of the column that is being used there is the exact same name as you have here in the columns. Now what that means is, for example, let's go ahead and open a view and do a side-by-side comparison. So under ships, we have the active ships here, or the active ship view. And I can see I have a name, start, end date, ship type, and number of crew members. If I change any of the names of these columns, it's going to be reflected directly in this view. So instead of the hashtag sign here or pound sign for the number of crew members, if I instead change this to number of crew members and click save, and then I go into the views again. Let's just open this in a new window. So this refreshes. Now I can see that the name here is number of crew members with the letters instead of the number sign. Let's go ahead and close this window here and go back. But if I go into my form, on the main form here, open this as a new tab, then the number of crew members here is changed because we haven't made any changes to this. But if I do a manual change of the name on the form itself, let's change this back to this sign. Change this back to this sign. And save and publish this. And we close this window. Then if we look at the columns, the number of crew members column has not changed to the sign instead of letters, because there's not a direct link between the name on the form and the name of the column itself, as opposed to where the name of the column and the view. So that's something to be aware of when you're working on forms and views and the column names, that there can be this discrepancy on the form itself if you're changing that. So that's one thing to be aware of. So that was a short overview of working with views in model-driven apps on the Power Platform. In the next video, we're going to be working with the app designer and tying all of these pieces together. See you there.